Another video titled Liar Liar. And it's about lying and seeking the truth. So, like many other subjects that I write about, I was once blinded about what makes someone a liar. And if anyone would have ever asked me if I was a liar, I would have said, me? Of course not. And, when I think about it now, I was. I definitely was. And this article was inspired when reading the story about Sarah, Abraham's wife, and when she laughed, when God told her to expect a child, she laughed because of old age. And uh, when time came around, when God said, that she would have a son, Sarah laughed, and then she denied it, saying, "I did not laugh, for she was afraid." And God said, "No, but you did laugh." And you can find that in Genesis chapter 18, verses 1 through 15. So, I guess my biggest thing with lying was kind of like, I pictured a liar to be someone who was you know, a habitual liar, I guess. But there is no such thing as a small lie, a white lie, a big lie. I mean, a lie is a lie. And the Bible actually refers to what we may call a compulsive liar in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2, NIV, which reads, "Such teachings come through hypocritical liars, whose consciences have been seared as with a hot iron." So that's pretty much, I believe someone who just lies and lies and lies because their conscience has been seared. So I wanted to share a story, a situation that happened to me this past summer, where I found myself momentarily willing to lie. So this is what happened. It was an early, I think weekday morning, and I received a phone call early in the morning, maybe like 6 or 7 in the morning, for someone who I care for very much. I respect very much. She's someone who I've known my entire life, and I really have the utmost respect for her. So she, we had many conversations about her economical hardships, with her, she and her husband, and how they just really struggle financially. And she has two children, one who's in college. She mentioned just the difficulties of no paying for her mortgage, and expenses connected to her car, tuition for her child, for her daughter in college, things of that nature. So, make a long story short, she began to tell me how a company was interested in her, but she needed a reference, and she thought I was the best person. And so she gave this whole rundown about, who, when the company will call, what I'm supposed to say, who exactly I was supposed to be. And I mean, she sounded so desperate. And after a while, I just kind of want to go back to sleep. So I said, okay, sure, all right, okay. So she hung up, she said thank you, she hung up. And then I tried to go back to sleep. And I tossed and turned for about 15 minutes. But I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't go back to sleep. And I was just kind of like, why can't I go back to sleep? I mean, I know I'm tired. I'm glad I finally got her off the phone. And I realized it was because the Lord was trying to get my attention. So the Lord said to me, call her back and tell her that you can't lie for her. So I said, well, all right, God, okay, I'll do it. But, I'm kind of tired. Can I call her and tell her this later? So God said, don't let her go another second thinking that you will lie for her. I mean, not if you want to serve me. So I decided that I would contact her, but then I found myself uneasy about something else. I began to really notice how difficult it was to tell this lady that I wouldn't lie for her. I mean, like I said, she was a woman who I had known for my entire life. I kind of felt bad for her having two kids, struggling with her husband. And, I was wondering, like, God, could I just kind of help her out? Scratch that out, help her sin? I mean, because that's what it really was. And, no, because that wasn't helping. A lie is a lie. So I tried to convince God, or myself rather, that I wouldn't be lying. So I said, okay, God, but I mean, I can vouch that she's a hard and diligent worker. Right? And, what God said next, the next questions he asked me, it kind of just shut my uncertainty down. I mean, he definitely knows the questions to ask. So God asked, have you ever worked with her? I said, no. So God asked, have you ever worked for that company? So I said, no. Then God asked, are you an established woman living in Pennsylvania as described in the role that you've been given in this just whole lying skit? I got quiet. So then God asked, is anything mentioned in this situation the truth? So I didn't have anything else to say. So, I got quiet, and I sat, in silence. So then God led me to contact her at that very moment. So, honestly, at first I was reluctant. But I eventually contacted her, and I began the conversation stating that I will not be able to speak with the company as a reference. And she quickly asked why. And I just thought, oh, this would have been so much easier if I had just said no in the first place, because I just allowed time for her to just think that, I would be, her reference. So I told her that if I was a reference and I spoke with the representative as being an old coworker of hers, I would be lying. And that if I truly want to serve God, lying is never acceptable. So she told me that she understood, and she began to explain why she asked me to do her a favor, scratch that out, lie, in the first place. So she stated how desperately she wanted the job, and that she respects my reasoning for not wanting to be a reference. So, once the conversation ended, I found myself feeling bad, to my surprise. And I had to catch myself, because I had to ask, was I conforming to the ways of the world, or was I conforming to the ways of God? Because I was about to transgress against our Father. And, I mean, my only obligation is to make things right with Him. So, I guess I kind of felt bad that I might have led her on and, had her thinking that I would lie for her so that she may get the job. But, after all, without any lies of my own, she ended up getting a job. So who was her reference, where she got it from, that's beyond my knowledge, and, it's really none of my business. But I just did what God told me to do. And, additionally, as I look back and I examined the situation, lying for her could, have crippled her process in getting to know the Lord. Because what if God was using that opportunity to be a time that God used to get her attention? What if my testimony began to appear hypocritical to her or anyone else that I would be willing to send for or with, at any given moment? Because if I were to lie, she could easily dismiss Christianity to be nothing more than a false religion. And if I had gone through with the plan of lying, my testimony, my representation, my relationship with Christ could, have been presented as being skewed, of being nothing more than serving the devil, because then we would have been the same. We would be willing to do the same exact things. But as Christians, we're supposed to stand out. We're supposed to be different. And, if I were to be acting as a follower of Satan's instruction, I mean, we would have all been, in the same predicament, willing to do the same things. And how can a follower of Satan help free someone else is held captive by the evil one? Only God's chosen people can help. So giving in to what she was asking me to do will only be crippling her and crippling myself. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 11, NIV states, do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another. Psalm chapter 58, verse 3, NIV, even from birth the wicked go astray. From the womb they are wayward and speak lies. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 22, NIV, and I had to read this about 4 times. What a mean desires is unfeeling love. Better to be poor than a liar. So it's the part that better to be poor than a liar. To me, that's just kind of like, wow. God is saying it's better to be poor than a liar. And that's something that I have, never heard before. So it really just caught my attention. And God is just really just showing us how unacceptable it is to lie. So, as I share this story, it really causes me to examine the whole existence of lying. And John chapter 8, verse 44, NIV states, you belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desire. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. So when I get desire to lie, I ask God to remind me what lying does for me. I pretty much view it as basically competing with the father of lies for his job, because the work of our Father, Heavenly Father, is based in truth. The whole being of Christianity is founded in truth. So I don't want to ease the minds of Buddhists or Muslims and telling them lies regarding Jesus being the only true way to God. And, I pray, as I continue to grow closer to Christ, that I don't find myself lying about things, big or small. I mean, there's no such thing. A lie is a lie. I don't want to lie about grades. I don't want to lie for a friend or to a friend. I don't want to lie to or for my parents. I don't even want to lie to myself, because how can a lying Christian be a witness of Christ? How can a lying Christian even proclaim the truth? The truth of the gospel. They don't go together. Lies and truth, they don't go together. They're opposites. So, I choose the truth, and I encourage others to choose the truth also, because that's what Christianity is. That's what being a disciple of Christ is. So, I pretty much want to shine light on what it is to lie. Whenever we say things, there needs to be a filter. The Holy Spirit should be convicting. Is this true? I mean, there's no bending the truth. There's no being dramatic, adding a dramatic effect. No. It is what it is, call a spade, a spade. We shouldn't be here to stress the truth, to bend the truth, because that makes it no longer the truth. And God is the truth. So our goal is to seek God and to seek the truth of the gospel, because that's what sets us apart. Satan is a liar. So if you lie, you then are stepping to his side of the fence. You want to stay in truth. Satan can't stand truth, and that's why Satan can't stand God. So in that, I choose truth, and I encourage everyone else to choose truth also. All right, bye. Thanks.